To delve deeper into enjoying Shogun, are you interested in learning various aspects about Japan? On this channel, we will provide authentic information about Japan to enhance your enjoyment of Shogun. In the future, we plan to focus primarily on content related to Shogun. Please consider subscribing to the channel to access all the information. For our first installment, we will provide detailed information about what Shogun actually is. Now, when you hear Shogun, you might not immediately understand who or what it refers to. According to Wikipedia, the Shogun of Japan was the title of the military dictators of Japan from 1185 to 1868. Officially, they were known as the Sei Shogun. They were appointed by the emperor but actually held the real power, especially as time went on. The position of shogun was essentially hereditary, and several different clans held this position throughout history. The office of shogun originated from military leaders of the Heian period and was formally reinstated in 1185, when Minamoto no Yoritomo established his political position. Officials of the shogunate were known as bakufu, and they carried out the actual administrative tasks, while the imperial court retained nominal authority. Shogunate rule lasted for about 700 years, until Tokugawa Yoshinobu relinquished his position to Emperor Meiji as part of the Meiji Restoration in 1867. Let's delve into the history in more detail. Nara period and Heian period. During the Nara and Heian periods, the Sei Shogun Grand General for the pacification of the barbarians was one of the military commanders appointed for expeditions. The first of these generals was Kozuno Maro, who was appointed as the general for the pacification of Mutsu and Shinzan in 709. Later, positions such as the General for Pacification and Conquest of the Barbarians and the General for Pacification of the Savages were established. Those appointed as ambassadors sometimes effectively played the role of generals. The terms Sei Shogun and Seitu Shogun can be roughly interpreted as having similar meanings. They were military commanders appointed to subjugate regions that did not show obedience to the court centered around the emperor. The term emissary referred to the people living in the eastern regions of the Japanese archipelago, present-day Kanto region and Tohoku region, and the northern regions, present-day Hokkaido and Sakhalin, from the perspective of successive central governments of the Yamato period. Various titles such as the General for the Pacification of the East, General for the Pacification and Conquest of the Barbarians, General for the Pacification of the Savages, and others were used to command expeditions in the Tohoku region. As such, there were various generals depending on the target of subjugation, destination, and purpose. In chronological order, starting from 709 with the General for the Pacification of Mutsu and Shinzan, there were positions such as the General for the Pacification and Conquest of the Barbarians, Grand General for Pacification, Grand Ambassador, Ambassador for the Pacification of the East, Grand Ambassador for Pacification, Ambassador for the Pacification of the East, Grand Ambassador for Pacification, Grand General for Pacification, General for the Pacification of the Barbarians, Grand General for Pacification, General for the Pacification of the East, Grand General for Pacification, and General for the Pacification of the East, which ultimately led to Tokugawa Ieyasu becoming the Sei Shogun. The first Sei Shogun. When I was in junior high school, I was taught that the first Sei Shogun was Sakanu no Tamiramaro. However, it is now believed that the earliest record of a Sei Shogun dates back to 794 when Owatomo no Otomaro was appointed as the Sei Shogun. Otomo no Otomuro was a nobleman and military leader known as a Kyuj who thrived during the Nara period. He is the first Sei shogun to appear in historical records. The Sei shogun was responsible for the expedition to emissure the northeastern region, and he was appointed as the general for the expedition against the emissure. Otomo no Otomuro became known for his battles and expeditions against the emissure. Although he was appointed as the Grand Ambassador for Pacification in 791, he submitted his resignation in November 792. In February 793, Sakanu no Tamuramuro, who would later become the Sei shogun, also submitted his resignation. However, neither resignation was accepted. Eventually, in 794, Otomuro was granted the title of Sei shogun, and in June of the same year, Sakanu no Tamuramuro, as the deputy general, achieved significant military success in subduing the emissure. In January 795, Otomuro relinquished his title, and in February, he was honored for his achievements in the expedition. In 806, due to old age and declining health, he requested to resign, which was granted. There is a groundless theory that claims the shogun Sakanu no Tamuramuro was a black person. In 797, he succeeded Otomo no Otomuro and was appointed as the Sei Taishogun Great General for the conquest of the barbarians. He served faithfully under 4 emperors and was renowned as a loyal retainer, supporting Emperor Kanmu's military affairs and constructions. He served twice as Sei Taishogun and achieved significant feats in subduing the barbarians. During the Yaku Shurkan no Hen disturbance of Yaku, he was promoted to the position of Dainagon Chief Counselor, which could be considered equivalent to a high-ranking official in the contemporary government, and played an active role in suppressing the coup. After his death, by the decree of Emperor Saga, he was buried standing upright facing east of Heian-kyo, Kyoto. He was revered as the protector of the royal city, the guardian deity of Heian-kyo, and the ancestral god of the Shogun family, becoming an object of worship as a divine general, martial deity, and military god. He is now commonly revered as a god of martial arts and a great deity of warding off misfortune, giving rise to numerous legends and tales about Sakanu no Tamuramuro in later generations. The theory of Sakanu no Tamuramuro being black is an unsubstantiated rumor that cannot be overlooked, so let's explain it in detail. The theory of Sakanu no Tamuramuro being black claims that he was of African descent. This theory emerged as early as 1911 in North America. Despite presenting no credible evidence, it has been cited by mainly black scholars up to the 21st century, and it was once considered evidence of the existence of Negroid people in ancient Japan. However, these claims are not true. According to the Nihon Shoki Chronicles of Japan of June 785, Sakanu no Tamuramuro's father, Sakamoto no Karatamaro, mentioned that his ancestor, Achi no Omi no Tsukasa, came from the district of Obiki, along with the 7 clans, after hearing that Japan had saints and sages. The development and acceptance of the black theory. In 1911, Canadian anthropologist Alexander Francis Chamberlain briefly mentioned Sakanu no Tamuramuro when introducing black individuals who made significant contributions to human civilization in The Contribution of the Negro to Human Civilization. W.E.B. Du Bois, one of the founders of the NAACP National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, wrote in 1915 that Sakanu no Tamuramuro was black. In 1915, Du Bois also introduced Sakanu no Tamuramuro in The Negro as one of the exceptional rulers and warriors of black ancestry. In 1946, Distinguished Negroes Abroad by Beatrice J. Fleming and Marion J. Pryd was published, providing a detailed introduction to Tamuramoro as a black person. This was the first publication to extensively introduce Tamuramoro as a black person. In 1946, Tamuramoro was also featured in The Negro in Our History by Carter G. Woodson and Charles Harris Wesley, as well as in World's Greatest Men of Color by Joel Augustus Rogers, attracting significant attention. Positive sentiments of the black community towards Japan. Du Bois was known for his deep connection with Japan. He was impressed by the strength of the Imperial Japanese Army during the Russo-Japanese War, and he was encouraged by the victory of people of color over white people. He later cooperated with Hirota Hoichi's Negro propaganda operations and even visited Japan. This was because he had shown a favorable reaction to the racial policies of the Empire of Japan. The NAACP, of which he was one of the founders, strongly opposed the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II and welcomed and helped Japanese Americans, who were released from internment camps after the war, providing them with job opportunities and inviting them to churches. In 1919, African Americans in the United States supported Japan's proposal to abolish racial discrimination, which the President Woodrow Wilson refused to enact because it did not have unanimous support. Thus, there were many black individuals who had positive sentiments towards Japan. The legend of Tamuramoro, as typified by the description in Distinguished Negroes Abroad, was associated with the idea among black people that historically, Japanese people were less discriminatory than white people. Cautiousness against historical falsification. Some black people suspected that facts were being concealed or falsified by white people. Indeed, when the Great Zimbabwe ruins were discovered, Western scholars, despite the location being in southern Africa, refused to acknowledge that black people built it and claimed for many years that it was built by the Phoenicians, Arabs, or Europeans. Similarly, behind the credibility of the theory that Sakanu no Tamuramoro was black, there existed suspicions that his true identity had been intentionally concealed due to a Eurocentric view of history. For example, some believed that contemporary Japanese people felt ashamed of Tamuramoro being black because they held discriminatory thoughts, similar to those of white people, or because Japan was considered a homogeneous nation-state. Others suspected that because statues of Sakanu no Tamuramoro were not publicly displayed, similar to the hidden Black Madonna statues in Europe, Kayamizudera Temple might be intentionally concealing the black characteristics of the statue of Sakanu no Tamuramoro. These theories are not based on historical records and are not considered factual. Claims such as the existence of black samurai or images of black samurai created by AI are fictional and without any basis. So, please do not believe them if you come across them on this channel. Now, let's return to the next shogun. Minamoto no Yoritomo. Born as the third son of Minamoto no Yoshitomo, Yoritomo was exiled to Izu province after his father's defeat in the Heiji Rebellion. While in Izu, he received the order of the retired emperor from the Emperor of Japan. Alongside other warriors from the Kanto region like the Hojo clan, Yoritomo raised troops to overthrow the Taira clan and established his base in Kamakura, effectively controlling the Kanto region. He defeated his younger brother Minamoto no Yoshitsune and the Taira clan, and after exiling his younger brother, he strengthened his power by appointing his brothers as governors and land stewards across the provinces. He also destroyed the Fujiwara clan in the Oshu War. Incidentally, his exiled younger brother, Minamoto no Yoshitsune, is extremely famous in Japan, and you'll likely come across plenty of merchandise featuring him if you travel to Kyoto. In 1192, he was appointed as Seitai Shogun. This year, 1192, is commonly considered the year of the first appointment of Seitai Shogun. With his appointment, Japan's first warrior government was established. Diverging from the court-centered power of the Taira clan administration, which was centered around Kyoto, a warrior government emerged in the eastern provinces, known as the Kamakura Shogunate. This Kamakura Shogunate lasted until 1333, with only 3 generations of Minamoto shoguns, after which the imperial court gradually regained power. Following the end of the Kamakura period, Japan entered its most turbulent era, the Nanbokucho period. The next shogun was precisely the figure who managed this chaotic period. Founding shogun of the Muromachi shogunate, Ashikaga Takauji. The establishment of the Muromachi shogunate by Ashikaga Takauji is closely related to the political chaos of the Nanbokucho period. The Nanbokucho period saw a division in Japan between the northern and southern courts, lasting from 1336 to 1392. Ashikaga Takauji's establishment of the shogunate occurred against this backdrop. The beginning of the Nanbokucho period can be traced back to 1333 when Emperor Go-Daigo and Ashikaga Takauji overthrew the Kamakura shogunate. Ashikaga Takauji rebelled alongside Emperor Go-Daigo and brought down the Kamakura shogunate. After the fall of the Kamakura shogunate, Emperor Go-Daigo established the Kengmu government. However, relations between Emperor Go-Daigo and Ashikaga Takauji deteriorated, leading to Ashikaga Takauji's defection from the Kengmu government. Ashikaga Takauji decided to confront the southern court and became a central figure in the northern court. He established himself as a symbol of the northern court and aimed to create the northern court, the Muromachi shogunate, amid escalating conflicts between the northern and southern courts. In 1336, Ashikaga Takauji founded the Muromachi shogunate in Kyoto. This further deepened the conflict between the northern and southern courts, establishing the Muromachi shogunate as the regime of the northern court opposing the southern court. Ashikaga Takauji's establishment of the shogunate solidified the position of the northern court during the Nanbokucho period, and laid the political foundation for the later Muromachi period, which included the rule of the Ashikaga clan for 12 generations, although they did not hold the title of shogun. In 1392, Emperor Gokogong ascended the throne, and peace was achieved between the northern and southern courts. This led to the unification of the northern and southern courts, bringing an end to the Nanbokucho period. The era of the 3 great nobles, Nobunaga, Hideyoshi, Ieyasu. Nobunaga and Hideyoshi were not shoguns, but along with Ieyasu, they are considered the 3 great nobles because each played a prominent role in Japanese history, significantly contributing to the country's unification and stabilization. Oda Nobunaga, a strategist with ambition and ruthlessness. Born into the Oda clan in Owari Province, present-day Aichi Prefecture, Oda Nobunaga operated during the middle to late stages of the Sengoku period. He was highly ambitious, starting from Owari Province and expanding his influence by conquering surrounding provinces. Subsequently, he gained control over the urban areas of Kyoto and the Kinki region, aiming for the unification of Japan. The Sengoku period was characterized by the struggle of daimyo's feudal lords for territory and power, leading to internal division in the country. Nobunaga expanded his power amidst this chaos, engaging in fierce battles with other daimyos and factions. He introduced innovations in tactics and military technology, such as the use of firearms and the construction of sturdy fortresses, bringing about significant changes to traditional styles of warfare. Nobunaga was known not only as a warrior but also as a patron of culture, supporting arts such as tea ceremony, no theater, and architecture. Under his rule, culture and the arts flourished. In 1582, Nobunaga met his demise due to a murder plot at Honnoji Temple, without achieving the unification of Japan. This incident remains shrouded in mystery, with complex political and personal motives believed to be behind it. Nobunaga's influence left a significant mark on Japanese history, and his governance played an important role in the process of Japan's unification. Regarding the drama Shogun, there has been attention on social media regarding a black samurai. Indeed, Nobunaga had a black retainer named Yasuke. Since many people seem interested, let's briefly touch upon this. Yasuke's origins are documented in Nihon Kyokaisher, History of the Church in Japan, written by François Solier in 1627. It is recorded that Alessandro Valignano, an Italian Jesuit inspector, brought him from India as a servant, and his birthplace was Portuguese East Africa, present-day Mozambique. During the Sengoku period, Europeans such as Portuguese and Spaniards began visiting Japan, and Africans were brought along as attendants or slaves. Their numbers were not insignificant, and Yasuke was one of them, serving as a bodyguard for missionaries. There are differing opinions on whether he was a freed slave or a free man, as he also received training in martial arts as a bodyguard. Valignano had experience visiting Mozambique before coming to Japan, but it is unclear from the text whether Yasuke was directly brought from Mozambique by Valignano or had already traveled to India ahead of him. Records indicate that on March 27, 1581, when Valignano was received by Nobunaga, he brought Yasuke as a slave. In the Nobunaga Keoki, Chronicles of Nobunaga, it is described as, "A black boy from the Christian country came with him, estimated to be around 26 to 27 years old, described as having the strength of 10 men and a black body like that of a bull." According to reports sent to the Jesuit headquarters by Luis Frois on April 14, 1581, and letters from Lorenzo Messia during the same period, the presence of a black person in Kyoto caused a stir, leading to fights and stone-throwing among spectators, resulting in serious injuries. Nobunaga took a great interest in this black person and negotiated with Valignano to obtain him, naming him Yasuke. He formalized Yasuke's status as a samurai, keeping him close. According to the Jesuit Japan Annual Report, Nobunaga was fond of Yasuke and intended to eventually make him a castle lord. Additionally, a manuscript passed down to the Kaga Ota family, descendants of the author of the Nobunaga Keoki, housed in the Sunkyo Bunko Library, states that this black person, Yasuke, was given a residence and a wakizashi short sword by Nobunaga, and sometimes served as a servant. The entry dated May 11, 1582, in the Yitada Nikki, Yitada Diary describes Nobunaga as having a black boy, given by the visiting preacher as a gift, with the appearance of ink, a height of about 1.82 meters, named Yasuke. This description was made by one of Ieyasu's retainers who witnessed Yasuke during Nobunaga's passage through Tokugawa territory, on his return from a campaign, clearly stating that Yasuke was not a slave or an apprentice but held a position as a samurai supported by stipends. Nobunaga's demise occurred on June 21, 1582, during the Honnoji incident, where Yasuke was also staying. When encountered by Akechi Mitsuhide's attack, Yasuke went to Niju Castle to alert of the disturbance and fought against Akechi's forces to protect Nobunaga's successor, Oda Nobutada, before surrendering and being captured. According to the Jesuit Japan Annual Report, the black slave given to Nobunaga went to the heir's residence after Nobunaga's death and fought for a considerable time. A retainer of Akechi approached him and asked him to surrender his sword without fear, so he handed it over. Asked how to deal with Yasuke, one of Nobunaga's retainers, Akechi Mitsuhide, said, "The black slave is ignorant like an animal and not even Japanese, so do not kill him," and instead ordered, "Place him in a church for the Padre's fathers, sparing him from execution." Therefore, Yasuke was sent to the Nanbanji Temple, a church built in Japan, and his life was spared. There are differing interpretations of Mitsuhide's statement, some seeing it as a manifestation of discrimination against the black man Yasuke, while others view it as a means of showing mercy to Yasuke and saving his life. The truth remains unknown. After being placed in Nanbanji Temple, Yasuke's whereabouts are not documented in historical records, and his fate remains entirely unknown. Thus, the period during which Yasuke was highly valued as a retainer lasted less than a year. Nevertheless, he garnered significant attention during this time. While it's possible that a somewhat substantial number, perhaps even dozens, of black individuals entered the country, it's unlikely that Yasuke was the only one who stood out so conspicuously. Descriptions of other black individuals besides Yasuke are overwhelmingly scarce, making it improbable that they lived alongside Japanese people. Now, let's return to the discussion of the three great warlords. Toyotomi Hideyoshi, a warrior who inherited Nobunaga's will and achieved the unification of Japan without becoming shogun. Toyotomi Hideyoshi was a warrior and daimyo of Japan during the late Sengoku period and the Azuchi Momoyama period, later known as the founder of the Toyotomi regime. Hideyoshi is famous as a warrior of peasant origin, although he was not born into peasantry but served as a vassal of Ose Nagamasa, the lord of Tottori Castle, and later became a retainer of Akechi Mitsuhide. After the incident at Honnoji, the Honnoji incident, Hideyoshi harbored ambitions of unifying the realm, engaging in numerous battles to succeed Oda Nobunaga as ruler of Japan. Utilizing his unique military strategies and political tactics, Hideyoshi brought an end to the chaos of the Sengoku period and established himself as the ruler of Japan. Subsequently, he adopted the surname Toyotomi and received an honorific from the emperor, becoming known as Hideyoshi. Among Hideyoshi's notable achievements are his conflicts with Western daimyo like Otomo Sorin and the Korean invasions. Additionally, he undertook the massive construction of castles and road networks to facilitate the unification of Japan, while also implementing economic policies and promoting cultural development. In 1585, Toyotomi Hideyoshi was appointed as the regent of the military government Buki Kanpaku. This position, equivalent to the highest rank among the aristocratic regents second of the Muromachi period, was established to counter the influence of the aristocracy. While the position of Buki Kanpaku was considered inferior to that of the second, Hideyoshi used it to enhance his authority and strengthen his position as ruler of Japan. Toyotomi Hideyoshi, while holding the position of regent of the military government, unified Japan through his political acumen and military might, shaping the Azuchi Momoyama period. His rule marked a significant period in Japanese history, and his achievements are deeply ingrained in the nation's historical narrative. The Gotayaru, as mentioned in the Shogun drama, were appointed by Toyotomi Hideyoshi and served as his highest-ranking political advisory council during his regime. Maeda Toshii, Ishida Mitsunari, Kobayakawa Takakage, Mori Hidemoto, and Fukushima Masanori comprised this council, playing crucial roles in political and military decisions. Following the conquest of Odawara in 1590, Hideyoshi consolidated control over all daimyo nationwide, establishing the Toyotomi regime. Subsequently, he engaged in military campaigns such as the Korean invasions and worked towards the development of domestic politics and culture. Hideyoshi passed away in 1598, and in accordance with his will, Tokugawa Ieyasu succeeded the Toyotomi regime, leading to the establishment of the Tokugawa shogunate. Hideyoshi is celebrated as one of the most exceptional rulers in Japanese history due to his political prowess and distinctive personality. The warrior Ieyasu waited patiently. Tokugawa Ieyasu was a Japanese warrior, daimyo, and the first shogun of the Tokugawa shogunate, spanning from the Sengoku period to the early Edo period. He is considered the founder of the Tokugawa clan, the shogunal family, one of the three great families, etc., and is counted among the three great warlords. He served as the model for the protagonist Toranaga in the drama Shogun. Born into the Matsudaira clan, a local power in Mikawa province, he was initially known as Takechiyo. During his childhood, he served as a political hostage under the Oda and later the Imagawa clan. Upon the death of Imagawa Yoshimoto at the Battle of Okahazama in 1560, Ieyasu seized the opportunity to break away from the Imagawa clan and changed his name to Ieyasu, aligning himself with Oda Nobunaga through the Kyosu alliance. On February 18, 1567, he officially adopted the name Tokugawa. After pacifying his home province of Mikawa, he expanded his influence into Tatami and Suruga, engaging in conflicts with neighboring warlords such as the Imagawa and Takeda clans, eventually extending his control into provinces like Tatami and Suruga. Following Nobunaga's death in the incident at Honnoji in 1582, Ieyasu emerged victorious in the chaos of the Tensho Jingo no Ran, securing control over provinces like Kai and Shinano and becoming a powerful daimyo ruling over 5 provinces. Although initially at odds with Toyotomi Hideyoshi, who rose to prominence during the Oda regime, Ieyasu confronted him at the battles of Komaki and Nagakute. Eventually, he submitted to Hideyoshi, who rewarded him with the transfer to the 8 provinces of the Kanto region, the former territories of the Hojo clan, after the siege of Odawara. In Hideyoshi's later years, Ieyasu was appointed as one of the 5 elders, serving as the chief elder. In 1600, following Hideyoshi's death, Ieyasu led the eastern forces to victory against the western forces at the Battle of Sekigahara, thereby establishing himself as the ruler of Japan. In 1603, he was appointed as the shogun and established the Tokugawa shogunate in Edo, Musashi province. In 1615, he extinguished the Toyotomi clan in the siege of Osaka, laying the foundation for the Tokugawa shogunate to govern Japan under the feudal system of Bakufu and Han. To avoid spoilers, I'll stop here regarding Ieyasu's details, especially since this period coincides with the beginning of the drama. Finally, I would like to conclude by introducing a famous haiku that reflects the personalities of Nobunaga, Hideyoshi, and Ieyasu. The cuckoo is a small, melodious bird. If it won't sing, kill it, O cuckoo, is attributed to Oda Nobunaga. If it won't sing, let's make it sing, O cuckoo, is attributed to Toyotomi Hideyoshi. If it won't sing, let's wait until it does, O cuckoo, is attributed to Tokugawa Ieyasu. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for the next update.